Part 3. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Chingjomi Se. Chapter 21. Nanban Road, a road that can sublimate Yuzhou. If you drive along Nanban Road, you can see the most majestic urban curve in Yuzhou. 456 restaurant and bar is across the river from the Liberation Monument. From here, the Liberation Monument looks like a giant ship approaching. Chen Shen arrived first. There are many people in this place all year round, so we can only find a relatively quiet location, the kind separated by wooden railings. After looking around, this location was just big enough to set up several shooting positions. The location next to it is also marked as closed. At 2 o'clock, Su Yuan arrived. Chen Shen met her on the side of the road. Sneakers, pleated skirt, and a relatively loose pure white chiffon shirt on the upper body. The seemingly casual outfit perfectly suits her temperament, making her beautiful, youthful, and energetic. When did you arrive? Su Yuan always speaks with a smile, as if he can close the distance unconsciously. Just arrived, go this way. The restaurant and bar are combined into one, and at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the seats were full. Although most of the people present were young and handsome men and women, the appearance of Chen Shen and Su Yuan still attracted a lot of attention. Some people also picked up their mobile phones to take pictures. The screened romance guests were selected by the idol drama director, and they are very good at looks. Before he could sit down, Su Yuan covered his mouth and looked across. I know that, but I really haven't been here yet. Chen Shen smiled and said, actually, I haven't been here either. I studied abroad and started working after graduation. I dislike the crowds in my free time. Su Yuan chuckled and said, me too, no wonder it's so popular here. It does make sense. After sitting down, Chen Shen ordered drinks and snacks. Su Yuan looked around. It was very lively, talking and laughing, and there were a bunch of people taking pictures. After getting food and drinks, Chen Shen did not look for a topic immediately. Instead, he looked across the river, with a very relaxed posture. This place will not be boring or embarrassing. Because it is impossible to create an awkward and boring atmosphere. There were young people all around, talking and laughing, and the surrounding cityscape was unparalleled. Su Yuan was indeed very relaxed. If she hadn't been worried about Chen Shen's presence, she would have taken pictures with her mobile phone. Do you feel like you are so busy that you don't even take a good look at the place where you live? Chen Shen said with a smile. Su Yuan nodded repeatedly. Chen Shen leaned forward, lowered his voice and said, if I didn't want to date you, I wouldn't be here. Why? Guess. Su Yuan narrowed his eyes, I understand you. Internet celebrity cities are indeed somewhat attractive if they are not the city where you live. What if it is the city where you live? Isn't it just a few buildings and the subway passing through them? What's there to see? The more this happens, the more surprising it is to encounter it unexpectedly. Speaking of the date, Su Yuan said, I'm actually a little surprised. What's the surprise? You must understand. Su Yuan smiled, clicked, and took the initiative into her own hands. Chen Shen didn't seem to understand. He didn't take any precautions and said directly, I may be a slow-warming person. Even after confirming something, I will hesitate. Why are you hesitating? There are many aspects, such as one's own heart and whether it will affect others. Su Yuan smiled and said, then why don't you hesitate now? Chen Shen smiled sheepishly, do you want to listen to the truth? You say. First of all, it must be the rules. He will force you to make a choice. Secondly, deep down, I feel that I should be braver. Puff. Why are you laughing? No, I didn't expect you to have such a cute side. Su Yuan leaned back in his chair, the wind from the river blowing on his face, making the temperature of the sun much gentler. A completely different experience than yesterday. In Su Yuan's view, Zhou Gaikan is a relatively strong person. No matter what we talk about, he is the one who starts the conversation. He will not take the initiative into his own hands until the end, guiding first and then confirming. In Chen Shen's case, it seems smoother and less stiff. What if the result is not good? Su Yuan said playfully. Chen Shen's tone became more serious. I thought about this problem, and then I still felt that if you want to do something, you must do it. You can't just do it because the result may not be good, because you are not only facing the result of this problem, you are still facing yourself under this problem. Su Yuan raised his eyebrows, seeming to be pondering the meaning of Chen Shen's words. Tell me about you. Before I came here, I was worried that you would be disappointed after coming here. Chen Shen changed the subject. Su Yuan immediately shook his head. How could it be possible? Let's not mention that I haven't been here before. Even if I have, I won't be disappointed. It's so beautiful here. Chen Shen just nodded and did not take the words back. Su Yuan thought for a while and said, I'm very busy. Think about it, migrant workers are still the kind who just joined the job. There are many things that I missed when I was a student, and it will be harder to discover when I work. Thank you for bringing me here. Unknowingly, Su Yuan began to tell Chen Shen about her own situation. In my impression, Chen Shen, who has always been relatively talkative, always feels sincere in what he says. He even pays attention to the program rules. Su Yuan felt that this response should be matching. Then do you like this job? Chen Shen asked in a low voice. Like it? He. What are you laughing at? I understand you. Su Yuan was stunned. What do you understand? Who knew that Chen Shen suddenly came over, as if he didn't want the microphone to capture his voice. Actually, I don't like the job I'm doing now either. Su Yuan's eyes widened a little. At first, he was defensive. Why are you coming over? After hearing this, his eyes rolled a few times and he looked around. Then he laughed again. I didn't say I don't like the job I'm doing now. Chen Shen laughed. Su Yuan glared at him again. Silly. Chen Shen pushed the snack to Su Yuan. Eat. Su Yuan took a small bite of the cake and looked at Chen Shen. Chen Shen's hair was not very long, but he had bangs. When the wind blew, his smooth forehead was exposed. At this moment, Su Yuan felt that even if he had a buzz cut, he should look good. After silence, Su Yuan sighed, but didn't speak. In fact, she doesn't like her current job either. Do you remember that you said I had a good personality on the first night? Chen Shen suddenly said. Su Yuan came back to her senses and nodded. In fact, it's really your personality that's good. When I get along with you, it's like I can be infected at any time. It's like the slogan, the state is not right, the pulse is back. Su Yuan rolled his eyes. What kind of description is that? It means full of energy, and the people around you will also be full of energy. Is it that good? Yes. Don't you think this is a bit heartless? Chen Shen shook his head. No, 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 people must first be happy themselves. This is very important. While being happy, you can also make the people around you happy. Isn't this a human gas station? I wish there were people like this around me. Su Yuan was happy and smiled again on her face. She felt that at this moment, it seemed that she really understood Chen Shen a little bit. That's right. After all, it's a show. No matter who it is, they are a bit masked. Happy New Year. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show. Why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Mi Se. Chapter 22. Unconsciously, more than an hour passed. Chen Shen and Su Yuan both leaned back in their chairs, enjoying the mild sunshine at the end of October. Su Yuan felt that he understood Chen Shen's arrangement, which was just a chat session. If there was anything he wanted to know, he would tell him everything he knew, and if there was anything he wanted to express, he would definitely express it. Just like the feeling when he invited himself, a date full of sincerity. "What type of boys do you like?" Chen Shen asked naturally with a smile on his face, facing the sunshine. Su Yuan instinctively responded with a warm smile, "For a while, it seems that I really can't answer this question. It depends on the feeling. As you said before, getting along must be happy." Chen Shen nodded slowly, and then picked up the camera from the ground next to him. Su Yuan was a little surprised. "Where did you come from?" Chen Shen smiled and said, "Don't look at me, look at the river." The picture was frozen, a beautiful girl full of vigor, the wind blowing her hair, bathed in the sun. Chen Shen handed the camera over. Su Yuan took the camera and leaned towards the shade. It was too sunny to see the display clearly. After seeing it clearly, he was stunned. It looked good, really good. "Maybe the photo is not very good, but you are definitely better than me." "No way, your photo is very good." "Let me see." Su Yuan stood up and sat next to Chen Shen with the camera. "Look. The half-length photo has a good light and shadow ratio, and the scene and the person also have a coordinated ratio. The key is that the wind is also captured, and Su Yuan is a beauty. As long as it is taken normally, how can it not look good?" Chen Shen took the camera and took a photo of a passerby in the distance. Then, he handed it to Su Yuan and asked her to see it. Su Yuan was curious about Chen Shen's actions, so she didn't return to her original position, took the camera, and then laughed. "What are you laughing at? What do you want to say?" Chen Shen moved closer. "The main thing is that the person is good looking." Su Yuan got the hang of it and pushed Chen Shen's shoulder. "You are really good at choosing. You make others look short and fat in the photos. I've thought about it for several days. Since it's a date, I have to prepare a gift. What kind of gift is good? I think it's better to borrow flowers to offer to Buddha. What gift can compare to the beautiful Su Yuan herself?" Su Yuan was stunned. Her cheeks were visibly red. Perhaps she felt the heat on her face and immediately covered her face with her hands. "Don't talk nonsense." Chen Shen smiled and looked inside. "Boss, pay the bill." Su Yuan was stunned for a moment, and hurriedly pulled Chen Shen. "Where else are you going? I think this is good. Riverside." "Why go to the riverside?" "Take pictures. The two rivers meet, and different riversides have different scenery. Nature itself has created the best scenery, and the construction of human urbanization has accumulated decades of development results. Add to that the icing on the cake. How can the photos be bad? It looks good, but there are many people, and there are even more people taking pictures, and all the good positions are occupied by people." Chen Shen looked around, then stuffed the camera into Su Yuan's hands. "What are you going to do?" "Nothing, wait for me." Chen Shen ran to a fruit stall. "Miss, how much are these pineapples for?" 5 yuan and 1 yuan. "I want them all." Su Yuan watched Chen Shen carrying a bunch of bags filled with pineapple chunks, and then ran to a more popular shooting spot, calling him big brother and little sister. After finishing, he quickly ran back, dragged Su Yuan over and took pictures for 10 minutes. There was also a good-natured booing around. Half an hour later, on the road along the river, Su Yuan was holding a piece of pineapple in his hand and eating it in small bites, occasionally looking sideways at Chen Shen who was fiddling with the camera. "I haven't felt this way for a long time." Today, Su Yuan felt that he was sober all day, and all the topics he talked about with Chen Shen were just a taste. But at this moment, he was a little drunk. He was really sincere. "This is completely different from yesterday. I was also devoted yesterday, but I sobered up at the critical moment. Today seems to be the opposite. I have been sober all the time, but I got a little excited at the critical moment." "How is it? Are you happy?" Chen Shen asked suddenly. Su Yuan's face froze, and he almost blurted out happy. But, didn't the question about what kind of boy I like in the afternoon become a foreshadowing? Should I say yes at this moment? Su Yuan hesitated. A flower has just bloomed, and butterflies and bees have just circled around. Chen Shen seemed to be unconcerned and immediately said, I ordered barbecue tonight, the kind with an unbeatable night view. Yeah, I haven't eaten barbecue for a long time, looking forward to it. The barbecue is an open-air barbecue restaurant on Nanban Road. Raffles, the Grand Theater, and the Thousand Buddha Temple are all background boards. When the lights are turned on at night, they are gorgeous and reflect the river. Compared with the cheerfulness in the afternoon, Su Yuan's face at this moment has a trace of worry. Zhou Gaikan knows the tricks very well, his family is rich, and he has a wide network of contacts, but Chen Shen is really sincere. It's so comfortable to get along with him. Chen Shen didn't say much, he just kept grilling meat and picking up dishes for Su Yuan. The game that night was destined to be like this, Chen Shen had thought of it a long time ago. Su Yuan provides emotional value to everyone. Is she a silly girl with a good personality? How is it possible? If she is such a silly girl with such a good personality, she would have been picked up long ago. How can she come to the dating variety show? In the world of girls, there is a popular saying. Sincerity is the ultimate skill. Who should this sentence be directed at? For a girl like Sumian? She doesn't have this concept at all. What does it have to do with her whether you are sincere or routine? What about a strong woman like Su Mo? The same is true. Whether you are sincere or routine, what benefit can you bring to me? This sentence is precisely for people like Su Yuan who play routines and understand routines. Only people who play routines know the scarcity of sincerity. Chen Shen grasped this point. I don't need you to respond to anything. I just unfold it to you, then agree with you and praise you. What if it fails and succeeds directly? Chen Shen thinks it is highly unlikely. They all know that sincerity is priceless, but they also know that sincerity alone cannot be a king bomb. You eat it yourself, it's so beautiful here. Su Yuan shook his head and stopped himself from thinking too much. I'm eating. I'll sort out the photos when I get back and send them to you. Su Yuan smiled and said, I see. You're pretty good. Why? Do you remember what I said to you on the first day? What? I said you have a good personality and don't fight or compete. Chen Shen smiled and said, do you think you're right? Su Yuan shook his head and said, so, you're still good at judging people? Chen Shen raised his glass and clinked it with Su Yuan. It was a cocktail. No, you're good at praising people. Not fighting or competing is a very high level, but I can't do it yet. Su Yuan was stunned, and then smiled unconsciously. He really knows how to talk. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Se. Chapter 23. After eating, Su Yuan was a little reluctant to go back. Whether it was the surrounding scenery or the people around him, Su Yuan felt psychologically unsatisfied. Take a walk along Nanban Road to see the scenery and take photos. It wasn't until 9:30, when they were tired from walking, that they asked for a car to go back. Of course, the program team prepared the car. This shooting is very important, and the director is following it personally. When Chen Shen went to socialize to take photos in the afternoon, there were too many people. The director personally carried the machine and hid aside to take pictures, for fear of ruining the entire atmosphere. The show cruise car has machines but only one driver. There was a bit of a traffic jam. Chen Shen looked at the traffic outside the window in a daze. He was a little tired. Su Yuan held the camera and looked through the photos taken today with great interest. Chen Shen is very good at photographing people, and every photo has a unique atmosphere. Remember to send me the photos when you go back. Su Yuan touched Chen Shen. Chen Shen turned around, took the camera, put it in his bag and nodded, "Don't worry, I can still fix some of the bad things." Su Yuan smiled, satisfied. "I'm very happy, I don't have to make a choice right away, and the show has only been recorded for a few days. Everything seems to be going in the best direction." When the car drove out of the traffic, Chen Shen suddenly looked at Su Yuan. "Are you happy today?" Su Yuan nodded, "I must be happy." Chen Shen approached, "Really?" Su Yuan avoided the serious tone and fiery gaze. In Su Yuan's ears, this sentence, coupled with Chen Shen's approach, undoubtedly had the same meaning as holding hands with Zhou Gaikan yesterday. If it hadn't been for yesterday's scene, in this state, Su Yuan felt that he must have nodded. However, after yesterday's scene, Su Yuan became more rational, which was equivalent to practicing in advance. Su Yuan muttered in his heart, "Chen Shen is really good, very top-notch, and very happy, but Zhou Gaikan is not bad either. With his family background, maybe he won't have to be an migrant worker in the future. Besides, it will hurt anyone he nods to. Let's be another person." Countless reasons flashed in Su Yuan's mind. Chen Shen looked out the window and did not press hard. The car became quiet, and Su Yuan came back to his senses. After hesitating for a moment, he also looked out the window. A few minutes passed. "Su Yuan, what's the name of that shop?" "The barbecue one." "Chen Shen, Nanjiang River." Su Yuan, "Oh." After a few more minutes. "Su Yuan, I think the first photo you took of me is better." Chen Shen, "Yeah." Su Yuan, dot. In the villa, everyone gathered in the living room to play cards. Play a game called Bluff. 2 decks of cards are divided into 4 parts, and then one of them plays the cards. You can play any card, but your next player has to determine whether the card you played is true. For example, 3-3. If the next one is judged to be fake, I will open it for you. If it is revealed that it is 3 threes, the person who revealed the card will take it. If it is revealed that it is not 3 threes, the person who played the card will take it. If the next judgment is true, you can pass it or follow it. If you follow a 3, it will be judged by the next player, and then the cycle will proceed. Whoever has all the cards in his hand first wins. Some people are frustrated in love but successful in poker. After playing for more than an hour, Fang kept winning and was laughing so hard. Su Mo rolled her eyes repeatedly. Su Mian is not very good at playing and lying. If she has won, she will follow. If she doesn't, she won't know how to play fake cards. I finally played a fake card once, but I was caught, but I didn't dare to play it again. Zhou Gaikan was a little absent-minded and looked at the time from time to time. During dinner in the afternoon, Zhou Gaikan asked if he wanted to wait for Su Yuan, but Su Yuan hadn't come back yet. Fang also told him that there was no need to wait. He was on a date and didn't know what to eat. Zhou Gaikan was shocked when he heard the news. Dating? What date do you have? Perhaps Su Mo wanted Su Mian to be prepared, so she explained in front of everyone that Chen Shen was going on a date with Su Yuan. As a result, Su Mian seemed fine, but Zhou Gaikan couldn't accept it. Only from Zhou Gaikan's perspective can the dog accept it. I've given up on Su Mian, and you're here to argue with me for your favor? Don't look at it, what's yours is yours after all, Fang Ye joked. Ahem, Zhou Gaikan gritted his teeth, 410s. Su Mo, I won't follow. Su Mian, I won't follow either. Fang Ye, if I lift it, ha ha ha, I will know you are lying. Zhou Gaikan, brother Qian Lai, you and I will really come out. Fang Ye, who can play tricks on you? You can overturn whatever I do. Joe Gaiken sighed, but I lost, every time. Let this piece of shit like Chen Shen come and play with me, I will kill him. Click, the sound of opening the door came. Everyone looked at the door, and Joe Gaiken stood up unconsciously. Chen Shen appeared in the living room first. Seeing him still carrying a camera, many people squinted their eyes. How thoughtful. When Chen Shen saw everyone looking at him, he was stunned, and then said, I'm a little tired after running all day. I'll go upstairs to rest first. Fang Ye frowned and Su Mo raised his eyebrows. Su Mian nodded, as if agreeing with Chen Shen to rest. Joe Gaiken was confused at first, and then his face lit up. In this state, at first glance, it seems that I am not asking for anything. So, today's date was screwed up? Ha 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 ha. Su Yuan also appeared in the living room shortly after, and then looked at the figure going upstairs with complicated eyes. Joe Gaiken hurriedly stepped forward, you're back. Come play cards, bluff, it's fun, I lost all night, come help me get revenge. Su Yuan looked at Joe Gaiken and sighed quietly, you guys can play, I'm a little tired too, so I went upstairs to rest. Joe Gaiken. This time it was Fang Ye's turn to raise his eyebrows, while Su Mo frowned. What does it mean? Is this good or bad? Fang Ye must be on the side of his good brother Chen Shen. Chen Shen was in a bad state, so of course he frowned. Maybe Yuan's condition isn't good either. Although the situation is complicated, it doesn't seem that bad, so why shouldn't you raise your eyebrows? Su Mo was not optimistic about him, so when he saw that Chen Shen was not in good condition, he just said so. Look, let me remind you, you still don't understand, so you have to join in? Su Yuan's condition was also not good, and Su Mo couldn't understand it. Where is Su Mian? It's probably useless to complain in my heart. Brother Chen Shen and I ran for a whole day yesterday, and we weren't even this tired. Fang also looked at Joe Gaiken, Akan, are you still playing? Joe Gaiken put the cards on the table, I'm not going to play anymore, I'm tired too. Fang also quickly put down the cards, then I won't play either. After saying that, he ran upstairs, the soul of Bagua burning in his heart. In the bedroom, Fang Ye opened the door carefully and saw Chen Shen sitting at the computer desk playing with the camera. Ahem. Fang also coughed twice, how is it? Chen Shen turned around and said, how about what? It's a date. Chen Shen smiled and said, what can I do? It's pretty good. I walked around Nanban Road, drank wine, and ate barbecue. Fang also chuckled. It's such a familiar state, wasn't it the same for me yesterday? Men's decency. It's okay, I support you. Chen Shen. Thank you all for your monthly votes. Please give me some monthly votes as well. Now the monthly votes are doubled. Thanks to Tokyo Handsome Guy's Corner Tour brother for the tip. Thanks for everyone's help in correcting typos, please read more. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Se. Chapter 24. Monday, November 1st. At 6:10, Chen Shen went downstairs. Opening the mailbox, there was an extra letter inside. After stuffing the letter into his bag, he entered the kitchen as usual. From the window of the restaurant, you can see the backyard, where Su Mo is skipping rope. Judging from the posture of skipping rope, it is very professional. This time, Chen Shen cooked 2 bowls of noodles directly. Then he leaned on the window and knocked on the window. Su Mo turned around and took off his sports headphones. Chen Shen made a gesture of eating noodles, and Su Mo responded with an okay gesture. He could understand Su Mo's feeling of getting up early every day. When his career reached a certain level, he would wake up at the same time every day as if he had been given a shot of chicken blood. The sense of accomplishment and fulfillment is unparalleled, and cannot be compared to the comfort brought by staying in bed. Coupled with taking a nap, you will be energetic all day long. I won't be polite to you anymore. I'll take you to work after eating, Su Mo said as soon as he entered the room. After exercise, my whole body seems to be steaming, and my skin is white and rosy. Thanks. Su Mo ate quickly and looked at her phone from time to time, probably thinking about work. After eating, he glanced at the time and said, "Give me 15 minutes. I'll go take a shower." Good. Like a little daughter-in-law, Chen Shen cooked the noodles and washed the dishes. But one thing is that Su Mo is on time, 15 minutes later. Su Mo, dressed in professional attire, appeared in the living room. His hair was simply clamped with a hairpin, and when he got closer, Chen Shen smelled a faint body fragrance. Many people like to exercise in the morning to enjoy the full body state after exercise, just like Su Mo now. She is full of energy, her skin is white and shiny, and she has the unique softness of a woman. Let's go. In the car, Chen Shen fastened his seat belt and Su Mo started the car. After the car drove out of the villa, Su Moke said inexplicably, "It's pretty good. It's not bad to pursue a good career." Chen Shen was a little confused and glanced at Su Mo. In Su Mo's eyes, this glance conveyed a different message. She thought Fang Ye had said something to Chen Shen, so to Chen Shen's ears, she might have thought it was her own sigh. If your relationship is not going well, then start a career. Su Mo immediately followed, "I'm talking about you." I. Chen Shen seemed to understand that what happened in their eyes yesterday might be that he touched Su Yuan's eyebrows. "I'm okay." Su Mo also hummed, just like Fang Ye, feeling that Chen Shen was maintaining the dignity of an adult. In addition to Fang Ye, Chen Shen is really another male guest that Su Mo has had more contact with. To be honest, I quite like this person, in an appreciative way. There are so many people in the villa, but a few of them can get up early every day and have breakfast at home. This kind of regular life is rare. Su Mo felt that she couldn't persuade him about feelings, and she didn't know how to persuade him. She couldn't tell him to give up Su Yuan and go find Su Mian. No need. "Where are you?" Chen Shen's voice sounded. "Me? It's okay. I'm not asking about life in the villa. I feel like you're about to go to war when you go out in this state." Su Mo glanced at Chen Shen in surprise, then smiled and said, "If you are so good at observing, can you guess whether today will be a smooth day for me?" Chen Shen barely hesitated and nodded directly, "It will definitely go smoothly." "Why?" Chen Shen raised his eyebrows, smiled pretending to be profound, and did not answer. Su Mo rolled her eyes, "That's nonsense, right? You really want me to tell you? You say. Sister Mo, you came all the way from Pengcheng to Aryuzhou to deal with investment-related matters. During this period, you can also be on a romance show. At first glance, you are the kind of person who is guaranteed to win." Chen Shen analyzed. Su Mo burst out laughing. "It's always a good thing to be praised so early in the morning. What if I mess up? You said it yourself, just in case. Besides, Chen Hotpot is facing internal and external troubles. They must be more anxious than you." Su Mo tilted her head, "Did Fang also tell you?" "Brother Ye, how could you tell me this? You said it yourself during breakfast the day before yesterday." Su Mo nodded slowly, "So he wasn't just talking nonsense based on my state alone? Let him guess at will, it's nothing more than finding a topic to talk about." Unexpectedly, a lot of information was revealed. Just mentioned it to yourself and remembered these things. Can we still have a comprehensive understanding of self-judgment? What did you study in college? Su Mo suddenly asked. Chen Shen smiled and said, "It has nothing to do with my university." Su Mo glanced at Chen Shen several times, and then asked, "Then what do you think Chen Hotpot should do? Or what should I do? How do I know this?" Aren't you a very clear-headed person in your analysis? Why don't you say it but don't say it anymore? What I said is just what I saw and I will tell you about it. What you asked is already beyond the scope. Sumo smiled and said, so, saying that I will go well today is just a lie. Chen Shen yawned and remained unmoved. When he was almost there, he added, I think so. I don't know later, but today will definitely go smoothly. Sumo turned the steering wheel to the right and stopped the car. Is it because I had a day off yesterday and am in good condition today? No, and the day before yesterday you said the progress was stuck, which means you haven't taken the next step. Today, the state is so high that it proves that you are going to take the next step, and you are the party of this matter, so the initiative is in your hands. Sumo stared, and this time she was really surprised. This kind of observation, this kind of understanding, is rare. Okay, I'm getting off the car. Thank you, Sister Mo, for the ride. I also hope that you can really have a smooth day today. Chen Shen smiled, then opened the door and got off the car. Chen Shen, who was about to close the door, paused and looked into the car. Consider changing the industry, or changing jobs. Chen Shen was stunned, then closed the door. Sumo waved, stepped on the accelerator, and merged into the traffic. Joke? Or serious? Chen Shen shook his head. This was a bit unexpected. He just wanted to talk to Sumo about work, but he didn't expect the other party to shake him. In the car, Sumo found an intersection to turn around. Some emotion. It's not really convenient to send Chen Shen to work. I just think that he was wronged by Su Yuan yesterday and ate his noodles, so maybe he can be enlightened. As a result, we talked about work. He has a sharp mind, high comprehension, and can keep up with his schedule. He is also good looking. The noodles seem to be delicious. It seems that it would be nice to have such an assistant. Sumo was suddenly stunned and muttered, didn't you say you can't cook? In the office, Chen Shen took out the 2 letters. If you are not happy, then make friends with someone else. A very simple sentence. Chen Shen shook his head and sighed at first, lamenting that Su Mian's brain circuit was not the same. Then he felt a little relieved. Judging from this sentence, Su Mian should not have any specific concept of love, which is a good thing. Are you free tomorrow? How about we cook a meal for them together? We can make something simple. I can make hot pot. This one is probably from Su Yuan. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Mi Se. Chapter 25. In the villa. Fang Ye didn't get up until 8 o'clock. He went downstairs and opened his mailbox. There was still a letter in it. He opened it and smiled bitterly, because it was a blank sheet of paper. Although he had a premonition, he still felt bitter. In fact, last night, he didn't know how to write. Everyone is a book, but he couldn't read Sumo's book, or it was very tiring to read. If you ask him if he wants to, he definitely wants to, but what about after he thinks about it? After a little hesitation, the other party may have felt it and braked in time. He walked into the kitchen and saw Su Yuan. Su Yuan also saw Fang Ye and asked, do you want to drink soy milk? Of course you have to drink it. After saying that, Fang Ye sighed and wanted to put the unhappiness behind him. Su Yuan glanced upstairs and asked, where is Chen Shen? Why doesn't he come downstairs? Fang Ye's hand washing the cup paused for a moment, feeling a little weird. He must have gone out a long time ago. He went downstairs very early. Su Yuan, really? Why did he get up so early? Then neither of them spoke. Su Yuan had insomnia last night, and there were 2 voices jumping around in her mind. When she got up in the morning, she thought about making something to drink to relieve herself. Who and what to relieve, she herself couldn't figure out. Fang was also thinking about the situation yesterday. Shouldn't Chen Shen and Su Yuan have collapsed? She came back with no good face and went upstairs directly. Why, she started to care about people again in the morning. What does it mean? Isn't he just a clown? What time does he usually get up? Su Yuan asked again. 6 o'clock. Why does he get up so early? To go to work, wash up and get something to eat, then walk out the door. The light rail just started operating. Do you have to take the light rail? It's quite far. I don't know, you didn't tell me. Fang Ye poured himself a cup of soy milk and turned back, thank you. When he responded to Fang Ye, Su Yuan had already arrived in the living room. It's okay, drink it. After a while, there was a sound of footsteps coming up the stairs. At the door of another bedroom, Su Yuan knocked on the door. After knocking 4 or 5 times, Zhou Gaikan opened the door with a toothbrush. Su Yuan smiled sweetly, there is soy milk in the kitchen, remember to drink it. Zhou Gaikan was confused at first, then his face was full of surprise, okay. Then I'm going to work. I'll take you there. No need, I can take the light rail. It's okay, Really no need, okay, remember to drink soy milk, I'm leaving. I was very happy at first, but when Su Yuan didn't let me take him there, I felt a little nervous. However, when he thought of the soy milk in the kitchen and that he could still think about himself, his heart was relieved. Zhou Gaikan may not have noticed something himself. Before yesterday, his mindset was how to control Su Yuan. After yesterday, his mindset has become how to figure out Su Yuan. At 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when Chen Shen went to the bathroom, he went to Chen Qinyu's office. He saw the light and walked over. Knocked on the door. Come in. Pushing open the door of the office, he found Chu Miao was there too. Chu Miao saw Chen Shen and smiled, Chen Shen is here. Chen Shen smiled back, Mr. Qu. Chu Miao looked at Chen Qinyu, then I'll go and get busy first. Chen Qinyu nodded, you go. After Chu Miao went out, Chen Shen walked to Chen Qinyu. Today Chen Qinyu let her hair down and tied a simple ponytail. It was obvious that her face was a little tired. Chen Qinyu asked, what's wrong? Nothing. Chen Qinyu put down what she was doing, turned her chair, and faced Chen Shen, go ahead, now that you're here. Chen Shen chuckled. A sister is a sister, no matter how busy she is, she has to put down what she is doing and care about her brother. It's really nothing, I was just wondering if you're okay, why did you only come to work in the afternoon? Chen Qinyu snorted and turned her chair back, what can I do? Where's Dad? What can he do? At this point, Chen Qinyu sighed, your dad, just seeing me there, is so arrogant, and he even slams the table at people, so impressive, and your sister has to come to smooth things over. Ha ha ha. What are you laughing at? Next time you go, I'm really sick to get involved in this matter. In the morning, when Chen Qinyu first arrived at the scene, although they were picking on each other, the two teams were still polite. What happened after Chen Qinyu arrived? Chen Ruxi suddenly became tough and didn't speak politely. He still has the old style of running around in the underworld, talking nicely, you are good, I am good, everyone is good. When the director starts to find fault, he must make a mountain to scare the tiger. Why did Chen Qinyu slam the table only when she arrived? Because both sides need to step down, the mountain is knocked, the tiger is shocked, naturally there must be someone to mediate. Chen Qinyu played this role. Chen Shen was relieved, which showed that the old man was not confused and still knew how to make strategies. I told you a long time ago, just let him do it, it's you who has to run there every day. Chen Qinyu glanced at Chen Shen with murderous eyes, okay, I'm wrong, you two are so smart, who can live better than you? Chen Shen shut up. Hesitated, stood behind Chen Qinyu, silently put his hand on her shoulder, and then began to knead it. We are nothing. This family is supported by my sister. If you hadn't stopped me from quarreling with him last time, I would have pissed him off. Chen Shen suddenly felt something strange. He was getting more and more involved, and he was happy deep down. Chen Qinyu snorted, "You are really filial. What's the result? What else can it be? The other party will definitely ask for compensation. The 2 phases of investment, the gambling agreement has not been completed, plus the interest. I will sell your father to see if I can pay it back." "Is there no money left on the account of Chen Hotpot?" Chen Shen asked. Chen Qinyu lowered her voice a few degrees. "If it's just to pay back the investment money, we can find a way to get it together. The key is the bank and some personal debts." Chen Qinyu reached out and patted Chen Shen's hand. Under normal circumstances, she rarely told Chen Shen about these things. It's just that if it's not handled well this time, the consequences for the Chen family will be very serious. It's better to let Chen Shen be mentally prepared. Chen Shen nodded, which was similar to what he guessed. Times are different. In the past, when a business encountered difficulties, at most it would lose nothing. Now, when you encounter difficulties, you will be in debt. There are too many places that can give you money. As a person, you will not be willing to give up, and you will raise money again. Once you fall, it is difficult to turn over. Some things are not difficult to guess. The old man currently has only 3 choices. First, raise money to settle this matter. Second, persuade the other party to continue to do it and continue to invest in you. Third, carry it alone and drag it out for as long as you can. Is there a 4th choice? Chen Shen is thinking about this. Sister. Yeah. Do you think I should go back? Chen Qinyu's tone softened. Forget it, just have this intention. Don't bother him during this period. If you quarrel again, I will have to persuade you to stop fighting. It's annoying, okay. Chen Shen nodded. Go and do your own thing. It's okay. We can handle it. Chen Shen hummed and went out. This matter cannot be solved by just talking. If some things are mentioned now, they will seem childish and fantastic to my sister, so it is better not to say anything. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Se. Chapter 26. On the other side, it was 4:30 in the afternoon. In a coffee shop in the North Technology Park. Su Yuan sat opposite another short-haired girl, her best friend. They were roommates, and later joined the same company. If it wasn't close to home, they would have rented a house together. Tell me, what's going on? The best friend also knew that Su Yuan had joined the dating show. During this period, they chatted a lot on WeChat. For example, there were businessmen in banks, PR men in the entertainment industry, and passive men in small companies. Su Yuan looked up, then lowered her head, not knowing where to start. The best friend asked, "Didn't the PR guy ask you out? How is it?" Su Yuan looked around and whispered, "Don't say that." The best friend covered her mouth. "I thought we were chatting on WeChat, haha." Su Yuan glared at her good friend. "Very good, very considerate. Maybe he was afraid that I would have a prejudice against the nature of his work, so he took me to his company as soon as possible. There are only 2 people in their PR department. It seems that he works in PR because someone in his family works at Weibo. Then he ate in the cafeteria and invited rappers to perform at the bar." The best friend hissed, "That's great. Wow, dating shows are different. There are boys of this level." Su Yuan sighed. "Why are you sighing? Isn't this very considerate?" He has connections, money and connections, and his job is also good. Another one also asked me out. Puff, the best friend, almost spit out a mouthful of coffee. The one from the bank? Su-Yun, you are not a human if you don't treat me. Su-Yun smiled, although he had a headache, but he pretended. That's a good thing, so you're having a headache about which one to choose? I'm sorry, time is tight, I have to go to work. Su-Yun hurriedly grabbed her bestie's arm. Please, please, but not the one from the bank, but the one from the small company you summarized. The bestie was stunned and sat back. While stirring the coffee, she was thinking. Su-Yun looked at her, waiting for the next words. Some words are very realistic, but they have to be considered as factors. We have graduated and started working. Material conditions are very important indicators. It's not just about being able to buy whatever you want, but what level of life you can live, the bestie whispered. Su-Yun nodded, I know. What are you worried about if you know? The bestie didn't understand a little. They knew each other well, and their families were just well-off families. After graduation and starting work, the most talked about topic around them was boyfriends. For example, a certain classmate found a guy who drove a Mercedes-Benz, and someone found someone in Shanghai. Some things can't be said at ordinary times, or I didn't have the courage to say them before. After seeing more and more things, and being able to say these words, I said these words openly. If it is a chat record, it is more explicit. I know. The bestie had a mysterious smile on her face, and then approached and said, Is he very handsome? Su-Yun, I asked, is that small company guy handsome? Su-Yun's mind appeared the scene of the date with Chen Shen that day. It's not a question of handsome or not, it's very comfortable to get along with him, just simply drinking tea, taking pictures, eating, and shopping. Stop, let me summarize it for you. Maybe it's because he is handsome, otherwise such a simple thing can make you hesitant. Hey, you let me, a single dog, give you advice on choosing a man, and they are all high-quality men? Damn it! Su-Yun laughed out loud. It really is, sister, the emotional value is given to me. Get lost. Ha ha ha, it's not that complicated. No matter how good the other person is, you may not be able to go to the end if you choose him. The point of hesitation is that on one side is rational thinking, and on the other side is emotional feeling. When I calm down, I think about how to respond to Joe Gaikin, but the photos that Chen Shen took of me automatically pop up in my mind from time to time. Happy troubles. I think so. Okay, then I'll sort it out for you. If you choose the public relations one, it will work out. You probably don't have to struggle on your own. What if it doesn't work? He will definitely take you to see a different world, and you will definitely grow. At this point, the bestie took a sip of coffee. If you choose the one with a small company, it will work out. You may be very happy and fulfilled, but you will also feel sad and wronged. What if it doesn't work? That means you will lose a layer of skin. This kind of man can easily get into your heart. Su-Yun nodded. She had thought about these things before. After her friends sorted them out, at least she said them out, expressed her sorrow, and saw the context more clearly. Generally speaking, do people who like to ask their besties for analysis think that their besties are better than themselves? No, at least Su-Yun doesn't. What a bestie knows is always what the person who says it wants her to know. Of course, these views are naturally more objective. If they really stay absolutely sober, it's just that one is rich and the other is poor. For the rich one, you have to see how much he likes you and how much practical benefits he can bring to you. What about the poor one? You have to see how much you like him and how much emotional value he can bring to you. For Su-Yun, love variety shows are not just a so-called blind date show. For love, or in addition to being in love, she will weigh the pros and cons of this matter. Thank you, I will definitely treat you to a big meal after the show is over. You have a conscience, but after the show is over, at least 2 people should treat me to a meal, right? You are beautiful. Villa, Joe Gaikin was the first to come back. Carrying a lot of bags in his hands, preparing to cook dinner. Unconsciously, Joe Gaikin's mentality changed. On the first day, what was the entertainment industry? Brothers could get along well in it, and a love variety show couldn't deal with you. Now, he felt a little tired. He felt that these women were not so easy to deal with, and the tricks he used didn't seem to be so powerful. Then there was Chen Shen, and Joe Gaikin felt more and more wrong. This person is definitely a little fox. Su Mian had a firm grasp on him, and now he came to provoke Su Yuan. The most annoying thing was not that Chen Shen and Su Yuan dated yesterday. The most annoying thing was that when he opened his mailbox in the morning, his mailbox was empty. No matter what happened between Chen Shen and Su Yuan yesterday, Su Yuan must have been affected by Chen Shen. Should he back down and focus on other girls? Impossible. Joe Gaikin was a little proud. He didn't fight for Su Mian. One reason was that he couldn't win. The other reason was that he was graceful. However, if Su Yuan didn't fight, he would have no chance. Let alone what people in the circle think, what will his family think? He was full of energy and came back early. He was still washing vegetables when he heard a noise. He looked up and found that it was Fang Ye, who was also carrying a lot of bags. Hey, you're cooking today? Fang Ye asked in surprise. Joe Gaikin was stunned and explained, we cooked together yesterday. Shouldn't it be a new cycle today? It seems so. I should have known that I wouldn't have come back so early. Joe Gaikin looked around and invited, how about we cook together? I'll help you tomorrow. Okay, reliable. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Ching Zhou Mi Se. Chapter 27. Joe Gaikin gave Fang Ye the task of cleaning up the food. The 2 men were working and rarely talked. Fang Ye came back so early because he was confused. He wanted to do something, but he didn't know what to do. On the one hand, he felt that he was too fragile. If he couldn't keep up, he would try his best to keep up. On the other hand, he felt that he was living well now, so why did he have to force himself into another world? When they were surrounded by big names in the investment world or various entrepreneurs, wouldn't he feel even more uncomfortable? When he thought of these, he thought of Chen Shen. Fang Ye felt that in some ways, Chen Shen was right to choose Su Yuan. Su Mian looked like a weak little girl, but she actually came from a top family background. Because he saw that Su Mian had a special car to pick her up at work, Fang Ye asked about it. In the whole Yuzhou, there are only 2 types of companies that make chips. One is public, and the other is public acquired by big guys. At this level, it is not necessarily worse than Su Mo. Brother yet. Fang Ye tilted his head, How are you? Fang Ye was stunned, me? I'm fine, how about you? Joe Gaikin instinctively wanted to nod, but stopped. There was one thing he lost to Chen Shen, that is, the relationship in this villa. It was also his fault that he was careless at the beginning. Joe Gaikin felt that if he wanted to turn things around, everyone had to be careful. Me? Not so good. What's wrong? It doesn't feel as smooth as I thought. Fang Ye instinctively wanted to sigh, but he held back and coughed twice. It's normal, love, how can it be smooth sailing? Joe Gaikin smiled and said, don't look at me as if I'm quite confident, in fact, I'm just pretending to be strong. Fang Ye stopped what he was doing, and the breath that hadn't been sighed out finally came out. Joe Gaikin looked over, what's wrong? Fang Ye, it's okay, I don't really understand these, maybe my feelings are smoother. Joe Gaikin was stunned, he felt that the script seemed to be wrong. Logically speaking, I have shown you my wounds, so we should have a friendly exchange and get closer? Why do you keep hurting my heart? Go on, I'm listening, Fangya added. Joe Gaiken gritted his teeth. Have you ever had a feeling that you just had a good impression at the beginning, but found that things were not going well after getting to know each other, but your mind was full of that person? The more things went wrong, the more you cared, you had no energy to work, and your mind was full of random thoughts? Fangya took a breath. It hurts. Joe Gaiken, what's wrong, brother yet? Fangya, I'm fine, I don't understand these, I just feel that you are miserable. Joe Gaiken also took a breath. It's not like this. We are communicating and being friends. Even if you get along well with Sister Mo, you can still chat about it. It's good to give some suggestions. Hey, what is love in the world? I'm afraid tonight will be another sleepless day. Brother Ye, what do you think I should do? Fangya raised his head and looked at the ceiling. Yes, what should I do? Brother Ye. Ah. You are the eldest brother, give me some advice, or cheer for your younger brother. Fangya came back to his senses. Come on, I think you can do it. Joe Gaiken curled his lips. He was already called by the eldest brother, but he was so perfunctory. Could it be that Chen Shen, that bastard, was also controlled by the eldest brother? Well, eldest brother is right, I will definitely cheer for him. Fangya didn't want to cook anymore. He happened to hear someone opening the door, and immediately washed his hands. I remembered something, I'll go upstairs first. Coincidentally, it was Chen Shen who opened the door. After changing his shoes and looking back, he saw Fangya walking over in small steps. Chen Shen smiled and said, Brother Ye, you came back so early today. Fangya sighed, and dragged Chen Shen upstairs. Chen Shen was confused. What's wrong? Fang didn't say anything, just pulled Chen Shen upstairs. Chen Shen had to follow him upstairs. As soon as he entered the bedroom, Fangya threw himself on the bed. Chen Shen was stunned. What's wrong? What kind of madness? Brother Ye, are you okay? What's going on? Fangya sat up and whispered, Joe Gaiken is such a bad guy. Chen Shen, huh? Fangya, I think he saw it, he's playing tricks on me. Chen Shen, ah? What did he see? Why don't I understand? Fangya sighed and was about to tell the truth. As Joe Gaiken said, he was just pretending to be strong. But before he could finish his words, a shout came from downstairs, Brother! Dog! Ba! Chen Shen! Come down quickly! Chen Shen looked at the door. What was going on? Fangya responded, What? Joe Gaiken's voice rang again downstairs, hurry up, there's a fairy. Fangya jumped off the bed and ran straight to the door. Chen Shen shook his head and followed him out. After going downstairs, he understood. The fourth female guest arrived. Joe Gaiken, wearing an apron, kept rubbing his hands, his face flushed, and smiling. Across from him, that is, the door. The white cotton short-sleeved shirt formed a sharp contrast with the black hair. She wore only a pair of light blue jeans, but it showed off her slender legs perfectly. Her facial features were delicate and bright, she smiled slightly, her eyes were bright and her teeth were white, as if she had walked out of a painting. Chen Shen frowned, why did she look so familiar? Fang was also stunned, and her breathing became a little faster. The girl was very polite and immediately started to greet him, and even bowed slightly. This made Joe Gaiken bow as well, and Fang also came back to her senses and did the same. Chen Shen came forward and was the first to react. He took the big box next to her. He couldn't help his curiosity and asked, have we met somewhere before? The girl was stunned at first, but Joe Gaiken laughed first, what are you doing? Be reserved and don't scare people. Xiaoqing Ai, the last glory of the Chinese girl group. The girl waved her hands hurriedly. No, no, just an artist. Chen Shen nodded and knew the name Xiaoqing Ai. 4 years ago, Penguin Video held the last girl group audition so far, and Xiaoqing Ai debuted in that girl group audition. At that time, she was only 19 years old, with bright eyes and white teeth, like a porcelain doll. Her business ability was also top-notch, and she was very popular back then, so Chen Shen had memories of this aspect. Fang Ye reacted and rushed forward to snatch the box from Chen Shen's hand. I'll do it, I'll do it. Xiaoqing Ai, thank you, I can do it myself. Fang Ye, it's okay, the stairs are not easy to walk, I'll put it at the door of your room for you. Chen Shen withdrew. Zhou Gaikan trotted back to the kitchen. Obviously, Xiaoqing Ai's arrival was like a shot of adrenaline for this villa. Chen Shen looked at the camera, and he had the urge to give the camera a middle finger. Next door, director Zhao Chunsheng was also looking at Chen Shen through the camera, and he was so happy that he complained, "What, do you really think that 1 million is so easy to get?" In the kitchen, Chen Shen took a bottle of soda, and then looked at Zhou Gaikan. Is she famous? Memory is only for the owner. Chen Shen now has a sense of belonging to the family because he has a sister who still dotes on him. The memory of Xiaoqing Ai is like a plain summary report. Zhou Gaikan nodded immediately. She is very famous in the world of otakus. She is their fairy. She seems to have appeared in 2 TV series in recent years. Although I haven't watched them, I have saved her makeup photos. She is really amazing. Speaking of this, Zhou Gaikan emphasized again, but I just admire her. After all, I am in the circle. I feel that if she is smarter and goes smoothly, she will achieve great success. This is what surprised me. Just then, Fang Ye came downstairs with excitement on his face. I didn't expect that I would meet Xiaoqing Ai in the Love variety show. My buddy voted for her back then. Chen Shen shook his head. Brother Ye, what did you want to tell me before? Fang Ye was stunned. What happened before? After thinking for a while, he seemed to remember what happened before, and then looked at Zhou Gaikan. Ken is right. Come on, come on. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Mi Se. Chapter 28. Chen Shen sat at the dining table, watching Fang Ye and Zhou Gaikan chatting very enthusiastically. Thus, he had a more specific understanding of Xiaoqing Ai. There are 2 listed media companies in Yuzhou, one is Huanyu where Zhou Gaikan is, and the other is Yuan. Xiaoqing Ai is the most popular artist under Yuan. After the debut of the Penguin Girls group, Yuan and Penguin have been jointly operated for 3 years. These 3 years have been mainly focused on music and stage. In this field, Xiaoqing Ai is a real top streamer. Starting last year, Xiaoqing Ai's contract returned to Yuan Media and began to take the actor route. She was not the heroine in a movie or a TV series, and the response was mediocre. Her fans fought Yuan on Weibo, saying that they could not compare with Penguin's resources at all, and they did not attach importance to Xiaoqing Ai's development at all. Zhou Gaikan was still complaining to Fang Ye that if Xiaoqing Ai's contract was in their Huanyu, she would definitely be treated as a tailor-made script. There was a sound coming from the living room. Chen Shen looked over and Su Yuan was back. From Su Yuan's angle, she couldn't see the kitchen, but only Chen Shen. She waved at Chen Shen, then raised her bag, indicating that she would go upstairs first. Chen Shen nodded, but his eyes stayed on Su Yuan's legs. The light-colored dress with the waist only reached her thighs, and then there were black stockings. Soon, Su Yuan's screams were heard upstairs. Xiaoqing Ai lived in the same dormitory with her. Zhou Gaikan and Fang Ye smiled at each other, as if they knew it. Chen Shen got up, went to the living room, and then went to the backyard through the glass door next to the French window. Standing on the glass plank road, I felt particularly peaceful. Is it necessary for Xiaoqing Ai to participate in this program to find a boyfriend? Zhou Gaikan had asked Fang Ye this question before, and Fang Ye's answer was, why do you care about others? How many people spend a lot of money for women or careers? What are they looking for? A chance to meet. Why? Because they think that as long as they meet, they can convince the other party and win the other party. Now that the other person is standing in front of you, do you still have to think about why the other person came? If you can't get it, it means you are incompetent. The words are rough, but the truth is true. However, this sentence also applies to Xiaoqing Ai. A 23-year-old girl, why does she think that she can get away with it? Or does Yuan media behind her think that Xiaoqing Ai's coming here will bring more benefits than costs? The group of people in charge of listed companies will only consider investment and benefits. So, this matter is very subtle. The situation that was originally very clear and controllable suddenly became muddy. He also had to figure out how to turn the family business around. Chen Shen sighed, life is not easy. In the restaurant, Su Yuan calmed down. He opened the door and saw someone in his bedroom. When he greeted her, he found that it was the top artist discussed in those years, and he jumped 3 feet high. She thought the people below didn't know, so she dragged Xiaoqing Ai to the restaurant. This made the two men a little nervous. Once upon a time, the girl sitting in front of the dining table was the most shining existence under the spotlight, and some beautiful and dazzling animated pictures spread all over the circle of friends. Now she is sitting in front of you. These two are great chefs, and they cook delicious dishes. Su Yuan introduced them to Xiaoqing Ai while peeling an orange. Xiaoqing Ai was also peeling an orange, smiling and nodding. Fang Ye, Zhou Gaikan, I remember. Su Yuan smiled and said, what about me? Su Yuan, Sister Yuan. Haha. Fang Ye came over and put a plate of washed cherries in front of Xiaoqing Ai. Don't peel them, you can squeeze juice without peeling them. Zhou Gaikan also came over. He was frying crispy meat and also put a plate on the table, but in front of Su Yuan. Try it? Su Yuan smiled back, thank you. Zhou Gaikan, the soy milk in the morning is delicious. Zhou Gaikan trembled a little when he said this. Because there was another Xiaoqing Ai sitting next to him, but he forced himself to treat Xiaoqing Ai as a tool. If this scene was told to those buddies, who would believe it? He met Xiaoqing Ai in the dating show, but the buddies still chose Su Yuan unswervingly, without even looking at her. Awesome or not? Su Yuan smiled, and then pushed the plate of meat towards Xiaoqing Ai. Come, try the chef's cooking. After that, he whispered to Zhou Gaikan, I'll cook porridge tomorrow morning. Zhou Gaikan nodded, okay. Zhou Gaikan is a person in the circle, and he can see through some things. Xiaoqing Ai's coming here is indeed amazing, but this woman is not someone he can touch. He works in the public relations of the entertainment industry. Does Yuan Media really not value Xiaoqing Ai? Are the resources really not good like those fans fighting for? Not necessarily. If they didn't value it, they wouldn't hold Xiaoqing Ai's contract in their hands and sell it to Penguin. Penguin is 100% willing to take it. Those people in Yuan are all old foxes. Who knows how they operate? Not to mention Yuan Media, there are so many people who like Xiaoqing Ai. If you pursue their goddess, if they don't agree with you, they will remember you in their hearts. If you meet them, you don't know how to offend them. After thinking about it, it is better to resist the impulse in my heart, study how to turn over, and then add points in front of Su Yuan. Fang is different, as if the whole person has come alive. He is always cheerful. Where is he? Xiaoqing Ai suddenly pointed at the figure outside the window. Chen Shen was still standing on the glass plank road. Zhou Gaikan curled his lips, you bastard, you are pretending, right? Fang Ye sighed, he's a real man. Su Yuan was confused. What? Fang Ye shook his head quickly. Nothing. Why did Fang Ye sigh like that? Because after Xiaoqing appeared, Chen Shen was the calmest one, and his mood didn't seem to change from beginning to end. I had such a lively discussion with Akin in the kitchen before, but Chen Shen didn't say a word. In Fang Ye's opinion, Chen Shen probably hit a wall with Su Yuan. Akin was so good at it. When Su Yuan didn't come, he almost called Xiaoqing a goddess. After Su Yuan came, he looked like he only had Su Yuan in his eyes. It was my good brother Chen Shen who only took the initiative to Su Yuan from beginning to end. It's a pity that he seems to be like me, not very good at chasing girls. His name is Chen Shen, very handsome, Su Yuan introduced. Xiaoqing nodded, but didn't stand up, just looked over there several times. Su Yuan hesitated, took a peeled orange, stood up, and sat down again. Just then, there was a noise in the living room. Su Mo came back. Sister Mo, Su Yuan shouted loudly. Seeing Su Mo, Fang Ye's smile faded a lot, and then went to the kitchen to help. Sister Mo, look, who is this? Su Mo stopped, Xiaoqing I stood up, and still greeted with a slight bow, hello, my name is Xiaoqing I. Su Mo was stunned at first, then looked towards the kitchen, Xiaoqing I. Zhou Gaikan and Fang Ye nodded. Hello, Su Mo. Xiaoqing nodded and smiled, so beautiful. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Mi Se. Chapter 29. Xiaoqing I didn't talk much. After getting to know each other, she helped in the kitchen. Zhou Gaikan felt that this was the most uneasy meal he had made. Only people in the circle knew how good Xiaoqing I's conditions were. Not only was she beautiful, but to make an inappropriate analogy, she was also the core product of an entertainment company. Zhou Gaikan's job was to serve them. Emotional fluctuations still meant that her defenses were low. A smile could make Zhou Gaikan take several steps back. Fang Ye asked Xiaoqing I something from time to time. In Zhou Gaikan's eyes, these were really not smart. People in the banking system may have a high social status and should have a lot of licking dogs around them, or they may be popular in the blind date market. It's really not smart to let them fall in love. With this comparison, Zhou Gaikan regained some confidence. Then he kept muttering in his heart, no matter how beautiful and amazing the rose is, it thorns people, don't think too much. Su Yuan leaned against the refrigerator with a water cup and watched everyone busy, and his eyes slowly changed. She may have just reacted to some things now. The female stars on TV are indeed beautiful, good-looking, and stunning. However, the female stars around me are different. Comparing with each other, it seems that I am slowly fading. On the glass plank road, Su Mo coughed. Chen Shen turned around and smiled, Sister Mo is back. Su Mo hummed, walked to the outermost of the glass plank road, and stretched out her hands on the railing like Chen Shen. What's wrong? You don't go to see the beautiful woman. I've seen it. Su Mo chuckled. Under the cliff, the green lawn is gradually covered by the night. When the sight receives the beautiful scenery, the ears and nose become sensitive. The wind here has traces, and the grass also has a smell. So, between the beautiful woman and the scenery, you chose the latter. It's not that complicated, just a simple stroll, this place is so good, more than 6 million%. Haha. For Su Mo, the love variety show is a bit boring. But today, Xiaoqing I came, which seems to be more interesting. Then there is Chen Shen. Su Mo thinks this guy is not the kind of person who can see the end at a glance. Since she can't get what she wants, and it's not easy to leave directly, It's better to dig out some interesting things than to stay here without knowing what to do. Why don't you ask me if it's going well today? Chen Shen glanced at Su Mo, these can be seen. Su Mo was stunned and smiled, actually it's not going well. You can lie to me, as long as you are happy. Su Mo stretched out her hand and gave Chen Shen a slap. It's not fun. Just like Su Mo's feeling about Chen Shen, the more she gets in touch with him, the more she finds that this person is very smart. It's completely different from the initial impression. Can I ask you a question? Ask. Why choose Yuan? Chen Shen looked back. There was no staff filming on the glass plank road, but there was a camera set up. Logically speaking, this question is a bit beyond the scope, after all, it's still recording a program. Of course, a woman like Su Mo can't be constrained by the rules of the program. Chen Shen guessed that although it was smooth, the old man must have disgusted Su Mo. So bored that he would come to entertain himself. Since it was going beyond the scope, Chen Shen was not afraid and smiled, I still want to choose you. Su Mo narrowed her eyes and also glanced at the machine set up next to her. I don't know what she was thinking in her mind. Chen Shen laughed. Why did you come here suddenly? To show off? No, Chen Shen felt that he had to change the dimension to record this program and needed to think. Before Xiaoqing came, Chen Shen's mind was on the people in the program. After Xiaoqing came, Chen Shen had to consider the director, that is, Zhao Chunsheng. Just as Chen Shen had thought before, when Xiaoqing came, where would her benefit be? Will he become her background board? Looking deeper, these things are nothing more than arranged by the director. Who knows what Zhao Chunsheng thinks? Some topics beyond the scope can be said, but does the director dare to let them out? Xiaoqing's arrival seems to have increased the difficulty for Chen Shen, but from Chen Shen's point of view, it also adds constraints to the program team. Su Mo's first reaction was to be offended. After all, he didn't have the kind of male-female thoughts about Chen Shen. However, if you want to say that he was offended, it was also her who started it. It's their freedom to choose who to choose. It's crossing the line to pick it up. Why is it like this? Because in Su Mo's heart, Chen Shen is smart, but he is still a little worse than herself. Su Mo also laughed, and she was actually happy deep down. This kind of conversation is like meeting a match in the workplace. Of course, it means that it is unlikely to be boring here. Sorry, Su Mo apologized first out of her manners. Chen Shen smiled and said, then are you still asking? Su Mo snorted, still asking. Chen Shen also snorted, then I'll say it. Su Yuan lay on the sofa in the living room, staring at the glass plank road outside. The two stinky men in the kitchen don't even know their last names. They don't even know if they put salt in the dishes, so how can they see Su Yuan? So, is soy milk really delicious? What about this side? Chen Shen had been outside for almost an hour. At first, I wanted to go find him, but I couldn't afford to do so. Didn't you just not give a direct answer that day? Who can get the girl done with just one date? Besides, I returned the letter yesterday to him. Isn't this just expressing my attitude? Although she didn't seem to make any mistakes, she was the only one who didn't like Xiaoqing II. But what the hell was Sister Mo doing in the past? It was a mess, all messed up. Fang Ya appeared in the living room, it's time to eat, where are they? Su Yuan pointed outside. Fang Ya looked over and was stunned at first, then he actually felt relieved. Do you go and call them or should I? Fang Ya asked Su Yuan. Su Yuan jumped off the sofa, I'll go. The night in late autumn in Yuzhou gradually became colder. Su Yuan looked at the figures of Chen Shen and Su Mo staying together, and didn't know what he was mumbling. Are they getting closer? His face was full of his signature enthusiastic smile again, hey, you are all here. Chen Shen and Su Mo turned around and their smiles faded. Let's eat. Chen Shen nodded, okay, I heard there will be a big meal today. Su Mo asked, is Mian back? Su Yuan frowned, yes, Mian hasn't come back yet, these men, forget the old ones when they have new ones. Chen Shen smiled, then guess why Mian hasn't come back at this time. Su Yuan, overtime. Su Mo and Chen Shen looked at each other, smiled, and said nothing. The female guests are here, where are the male guests? Chen Shen just said, maybe. The three walked towards the villa, and Su Mo felt more and more that Chen Shen would not choose Su Yuan. It's not that Su Yuan is not good, but she didn't feel that Chen Shen had a good impression of her. Although love is something inexplicable, but it's not like college students, at least there is basic logic. I'm just being paid to be on a dating show, why do you choose me? Author, Qingzhou Se. Chapter 30. During dinner time, Xiaoqing Ai sat where Su Mian usually sat. That is, between Zhou Gaikan and Chen Shen. Opposite Chen Shen is Su Mo, and Su Yuan sits opposite Zhou Gaikan. Su Mian hasn't come back yet. This meal is quite rich. Opened a bottle of red wine. Su Mo shook the red wine glass and found the scene very interesting. Zhou Gaikan sat upright and kept helping Su Yuan pick up the food. It was very different from usual, which proved that his mind was in chaos. On the surface, Su Yuan seemed to be the same as usual, but he didn't take the initiative to find topics. Fang Ye was usually a compliment, but now he was a tease. Where is Xiaoqing Ai? Be generous and responsive. However, Chen Shen still ate silently. Su Mo also admitted that from her perspective, Xiaoqing Ai was indeed very beautiful. A girl in her 20s, her face could be described as pink and jade, and then there was the halo. There is a big contrast between the expressiveness on the stage and the formality of sitting at the dinner table. The question is, why was Chen Shen not affected? What is Chen Shen doing? Of course it's dry rice. There was only one thought deep in his heart, no matter what Xiaoqing did when he came, just don't disturb him. If it interferes with myself, I can only include her in it. Before that, Chen Shen would definitely not take the initiative to provoke her. There are too many things involved behind this girl. At this moment, Xiaoqing Ai suddenly turned his head, can you get the ribs? Chen Shen was stunned for a moment, okay. Xiaoqing Ai, okay, if you can't get it, I can help. Chen Shen nodded. Mud, it's really beautiful. At this moment, Su Yuan looked over the crowd at Chen Shen, what time will you be back tomorrow? Chen Shen looked over, I'll get home around 6 o'clock. Su Yuan nodded, okay, I'll buy some groceries first. Then we'll go to the supermarket to buy whatever is needed. Chen Shen nodded and did not refuse. The smile on Su Yuan's face was warm and satisfied. What makes her satisfied? Women's senses are sensitive. Among the men present, Chen Shen was the only one who was not affected by Xiaoqing Ai. Su Mo felt it, and Su Yuan also felt it. It was fine when Xiaoqing stopped talking to Chen Shen, but when he did, Su Yuan unconsciously wanted to declare his sovereignty. What happened to the big star? Don't touch this one, he's the man who took pictures of me. Zhou Gaikan laughed unnaturally, are you cooking tomorrow? Su Yuan nodded, yeah, but let's just make hot pot for the two rookies. Can Qingyi eat spicy food? Xiaoqing raised his head, I can do it. Fang Ye, hot pot is great. We eat together and the atmosphere is great. Zhou Gaikan began to lower his head to eat, and began to force himself to calm down. Xiaoqing Ai is not of the same rank as him, so just treat her as transparent. Su Yuan is the foundation of his career and he is very beautiful. There is no need to cause trouble. Can you pick up the pieces of meat here? Xiaoqing Ai suddenly looked at Zhou Gaikan. Joe Gaikin was confused. Hey, it's okay. You can eat yours. We are all familiar with it. Just stand up and pick it up. How about it? Does it taste good? I was a little nervous before. Some of the dishes were salty. Sue Mo burst out laughing. This is crushing in all aspects, the kind that cannot be resisted. In the words of starstruck fans, she is called a goddess. Perhaps because he was feeling competitive, or because he had been holding back his words in his heart, Su Yuen whispered, I think it's okay, not salty. Joe Gaikin hummed and said, that's good, that's good. Perhaps feeling that he was not in the right state, Joe Gaikin simply stood up and said, I'm full. A few minutes later, Xiaoqing Ai put down the bowl and chopsticks. Immediately afterwards, Fang also stood up. Chen Shen glanced at them, you go and rest, I will take care of it. Su Yuen looked left and right. Maybe Chen Shen felt more secure and went out. Su Mo shook his head slightly. In fact, Su Yuen was also affected. The authorities were obsessed with it, and what he wanted in reality was also brought into the show. The rhythm is messed up and I start to sink in. Sister Mo, you should go and have a rest. You can't cook, but you can still wash the dishes. Su Mo rolled her eyes and didn't listen to him. She stood up and started cleaning up. When he got to the kitchen, he turned back and said provocatively, you dare to say you can't cook? Chen Shen chuckled, I really can't. Su Mo, you swear. I hand out. Before he finished speaking, Su Mo, who narrowed his eyes, felt a little aura, not because he was timid, but because he felt there was no need to dwell on this issue. One on the left and one on the right, both wearing aprons. Viewed from the side, Su Mo's curves are very prominent, and the cartoon avatar on her apron is very three-dimensional. Hey, Chen Shen shouted. Don't I have a name? Do the words you said during the day count? What words? You said you wanted me to change my job. Su Mo looked over and said with a smile, okay, I'll introduce it to you. Chen Shen stopped talking. He was not sincere. Su Mo wiped the chopsticks one by one with a towel, and he could see many things clearly. But she really didn't know what Chen Shen was going to do. You said he has a bad character, but Su Mian is already a little clingy to him. If you just coax him, won't the little girl get it? You said he has a good character, why do you want to get in between Joe Gaikin and Su Yuen? In the afternoon, I said some things to myself that I shouldn't have said. The key is still on the show, how dare you? Is he the kind of person who talks nonsense without any idea? Not really. Sister Mo. I think the matter you are dealing with is not a difficult matter in itself, but from your attitude, you want to make it a difficult matter. Su Mo stopped what she was doing, then looked at Chen Shen, and didn't speak for a long time. This sentence has a lot of information. Why do you think so? After talking to you this morning, I checked a lot of information during the day. Then how difficult do you think it is? The possibility is almost zero. Su Mo was certainly not fooled by Chen Shen, but she was not sure whether this guy really analyzed it or was just pretending to be mysterious. If Fang Ye said these words, it would be a bit reliable. Chen Shen, a graduate of a music college, why? Su Mo curled her lips and said, wash your dishes, you are always talking nonsense. Chen Shen came over, there are only 10 listed companies in the domestic catering industry. Sister Mo has stepped into it. I don't think it's possible to retreat. Su Mo's face did not change, and her heart was in turmoil. So, Chen Shen is not pretending? If Fang Ye had analyzed these things, it would be normal, but Su Mo never thought that Chen Shen could analyze them. As Chen Shen said, if he was just here to deal with a crisis, would he still have time to appear on a dating show? Wouldn't that be idle? To put it bluntly, he was unwilling to retreat from the catering industry. This is a protracted war. Stop, you are a marketing person, why do you care so much about the capital market? Su Mo tried. Chen Shen smiled, that sentence in the morning is a compliment to me, so why don't I show it? Show it? The two looked at each other, and neither retreated. Su Mo had to admit that Chen Shen was talented in business. But what is he looking for by being so concerned? An opportunity? Or human?